Okay, welcome to hopefully what should be the second to last video. I can't say for sure. I think it should be, where we're going into testing and presentation. Testing might take a while, so I might break it up into testing and presentation, but we'll see how it goes depending on how things go. Sorry to interrupt the video, but this is future me talking to you while you're watching this. And if you are struggling with a certain part of your eye, or you just need some way to check over your eye, we do personal one-on-one eye classes. So if you want your eye to get a check over, just to make sure you have all the requirements on the marks, makeITsimpleTT.com/register. Okay, cool. Back to the video. Alright, so in our last video, we went through all the code. We got all the code to work. We tested every function. We put it inside. We proved everything to the examiner. Everything that is necessary for all the marks, and now our job is to do the testing part. Now the testing does have a lot of marks allocated to it, and you could clearly see that my computer is fighting me. Right, yeah. Testing and presentation. Right, so you must have a test plan, and then you must have test results. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that first of all we have an exhaustive data set, because it's 3 marks for exhaustive data set. There's minimal, acceptable, and exhaustive. I'll explain to you all what's the difference based on my knowledge, and then we have to go through all the different types of results that we could get. So there are 5 marks for the types of results. Now every test that you do won't be able to go through all of these test cases, but they'll be able to go through some of them. I'll explain why just now. So you want to be able to show normal, extreme, erroneous, and incomplete. Depending on the type of things that you're testing, you will be able to go through all of them. Normal input, extreme input, erroneous input, incomplete input. But some of them you won't be able to show, because you can't really show like a you can't really show like an extreme input when you're testing for an input file, because it's either the file there or the file not there. So you have to kind of make sure that your test plan tests through many different things, right? So here's so many things that I think that you should test through. 1, you should go through all of the things that you plan to test. So let's say some easy tests that you could do would be testing for data in the input file. Right, so we say testing for data in the input file. You would want to test for correct password. Then what else do we have inside this code that we could test for? We want to put in a test for choosing the correct option, because that's important. You realize I'm trying to find things in the program that are very important, and you want to make sure that they all work, right? So essentially what we're doing is I'm going through the main and I'm thinking through what are the things that we should test for. Do we need to test the welcome function? No, the welcome function is a void function that prints something to the screen. Testing that, not really going to prove that you could test anything, because there will be no error message or anything of that sort. Testing for the password, you want to test for that because you want to make sure that they get an error message if they put in password. Basically, you are checking to see if you can pick up errors on the user side when you're testing things, and you also want to test things from on the internal. So you're testing a lot of the functional requirements, almost all the functional requirements you want to test, and you want to test some of your non-functional requirements, because some of the non-functional requirements, they're not very testable and they're kind of hard to test, but we want to try to be as robust as possible. Testing for the correct option, testing the result of each function. Now, testing the result of each function, it may not be necessary to test the result of every single function, because some functions are just printing things to the screen. But if a function is doing read write or return, you want to test those. If a function is opening a file, you want to test that. If a function is reading from a file, you want to test that. You want to just kind of show that you are testing through all the functions that are necessary to test, meaning any function that does some sort of logic, you want to test the logic. If it's a function that is printing out stuff, you probably don't need to test it because it would work, right? So we're going to test the result of each function, right? So let's go and take it to what we have. So let's see, we want to test input file tests, right? Now, according to the syllabus, they have test plan, test results, and overall presentation, right? So for the test plan part, I'm going to show the data set that I'm going to be using because this helps the examiner know that you know what you're testing, right? Input file test. This test should test for a input file with data and without data and give the appropriate error message. Okay, so that's one test. Next test would be test for correct password. This test should only allow the correct password and give error message until it is correct. Then we want to choose the option menu test. The menu should only accept the values in the range 1 to 5 and give an error message if it does not match. Alright, so that's a good test there because remember that's logic, that's returns. You want to test to see if it's returning the correct thing, that kind of stuff. Then you want to test the each function, right? So the functions that we're going to test, we'll have to go through the functions and see each one of them and figure out how we can test it. Because remember, inside this whole process here, we must have normal inputs, extreme inputs, erroneous, and incomplete. So we'll try to create a table that tests for each one of them. So here's how it will look, right? So we're going to put testing input file, purpose of test, this test, blah, blah, blah. So I'm listing out, these are the data sets that I'm going to do. And then we're going to do a table showing this. And these are the example tables, and we have some screenshots. So for example, test 1, testing input file. To see if the files aren't being read properly, if the program would be using wrong data sets, then we'll have the wrong outputs. So I have to put the purpose of the test is, I need to check to see if the data is being read properly. So all of these here, I will put as examples. Yeah. So all this is going to get shown below, and we're going to take these tables here. So I'll put these tables here in red. These are my example tables. Oh my goodness. You do that. Test and presentation, right? Yeah, so these tables are going to put in red. Anything as an example in this document will be in red. If you do see this document in the app, you'll see the red. I might make some changes to it as time goes by when sometimes you know you realize you could do things better and you make changes. That's the good thing about the app. The app has the documents, and the documents are updated as I update them. So it's not like a textbook that will get outdated over time. It will update. Alright, so let's create a table for the test 1, which is the input file. Okay. So I'll just take this little template part here, and we're going to put the data here. Okay. So test 1. Test 1, testing the input files. Purpose of test, if the files are being read properly, then the program would be using wrong information. So we're going to put a full input.txt, and then we're going to try a empty input.txt. No, patients.txt, sorry. Patients.txt. Patients.txt. Right, good. So the test is to read the file at the start of the program. Again, expected should be an error message saying the file is empty. Now hopefully this will pass, and I'll say see figure below. And then I'm going to put the two print screens to show the actual results from full file and empty file, right? So because with the input file, what I'm going to be able to test for is normal input given correct results, and I'm going to test for incomplete input given appropriate message, meaning that the input file is empty, incomplete, right? You could also put in situations being tested, which will be full, no, what it have? Normal input and incomplete input. Normal. Right. This is going to show to the examiner that you know the two things that you're testing for because you are familiar with the syllabus, and the syllabus says you must test for all of these. So if we show test results and we show them that we did an incomplete and we did a normal input, that means it's warranted that we should get a 1 mark for incomplete, and it's warranted that we should get a mark for normal. But you have to do a lot more normal than just one in order to get the marks. So we're going piece by piece. Alright, so we want to put in a test now that is going to test for this input file. So let's go to the code. Of course, I'm going to have to paste over the code when I'm done, but that's okay, because at least I know how to paste it. And at least up to this point, everything that we have is working. So even if you do get to do the test plan, you have functional code and you can put that code in and it should be good. So let's check the read data. Okay, so we have file in fopen patients.txt. What we want to do is put in if and say if in equal null, then we will print the file is empty. Please check the file. And then we'll put else, and then the else now we'll take this whole while loop here and throw it inside the while not in the file. Right. So now we have the test. The test is if the input file is equal to null, null means that is empty, right? Printf, the file is empty, please check the file. Else, while not end of file, scan the file and set the actual size and all that. So all the stuff that we did before with the actual size, everything, all that's the same. All we're doing is we put it into an if else, because that's how you test if else, right? So now we're going to test to see if the file runs properly. Now I'm going to make the console a little bigger. I'm going to float it, because I'll need to take print screens of this. So that is why I'm going to make the console a little bit like this. Right. I think you should be able to, yeah, right. Right, so I'm going to now take like screen grabs of it. So we're going to run the program. That's going to say, welcome to the hospital, we care. Please enter the correct 4-digit passcode. I'm going to put 1111. And now I'm going to show if the file was read properly or not, which I didn't show. So I have to put in here else Right, so I'm going to power printf here to show that the file was read properly, right? Backslash n, the data from the file. Oh, I moved the printf that I had, that was proven that it printed out properly. I think I have the printf here. Did I have it? The data from the file was read properly. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna put this this printf back inside. I'm not gonna leave the printf inside the actual code, but this is just for the test, right? So I'm going to put the file was read successfully. The first ID is this, and the last ID is that, and that will be the proof to the examiner that I knew how to read data from the file. I'm going to take this out, or actually going to leave it as a comment so that they could see it in the code if they want to show that I did have the test inside, and this is the test that I actually use. But I'm going to leave the data from the file was read properly there. That should make my life easier. Right, so now we have either one or two messages will come up. The data was read properly or the data was not read properly. So this is my test. So I'm going to run it now. Please enter the 4-digit passcode. So what we want to do is we want to test to see if the file was read properly. So I'm going to run this code and we're going to try to zoom in and see. Yeah, let's see. 4-digit passcode is 1111. Enter, that works. So it says the data from the file is read properly, the file is read successfully, first ID is 78 and last ID is 777. So I'm going to copy this code right here. And we're going to take that snip and drop it inside here. So I'm going to put actual result from tests, and where I have show screenshot, I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to put in the screenshot. And at the bottom, I'm going to label it screenshot showing that data was read successfully from the file. Alright, that's one. Cool. Next, I'm going to now have to empty out the input file with patients.txt. Empty it out. Oh wait, no, I have to prove that the input file had this information too. Okay, so I'm going to show before I do this actual results from test, I'll put file showing. I'll put data from input file shown. Right, so the data from input file is shown. So now it proves that the first ID is 78 and the last ID is 777. That was my test. Okay. Screenshot showing data was read successfully 25. Okay, good. Now I want to show the screenshot with the data not being read from the file. So I'm going to click out. Do I have the file open here? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to take out all the data from this file and leave it blank. And now we're going to see what will happen if I run the code. I should get an error message. So let's go, we put in the passcode 1111. Oh, it says that the data was file was read properly. First ID is 0 and last ID is 0. That's a problem because it's supposed to say nothing. Oh, oh no. What I could do is I could remove the input file. Yeah. So if I delete the input file, alright, so let's try it again. Alright, so showing that no input file exists. Run. Enter the 4-digit passcode, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, right. So the file is empty. Please check the file. Good. So I'm going to take this. I should change it to the file is empty or does not exist. Okay, the file is empty or does not exist. Okay, let's run it over. So no file there. Right, file is empty or does not exist. Please check the file. I'm going to take grab this here. And then we're going to go to the test plan and we're going to put screenshots showing the file does not exist. Right, good. All right, so that's one test there. We have proven that we could test for normal input, incomplete input, aka data that's totally missing. Normal input, stream, right? Good. Cool. So that's one test. That should probably get at least the incomplete mark, showing that you know that the file doesn't exist because you checked for null. I'm going to undo this now and put the file back. Hope I could put the file back. Nope. I'll create back the file. Patience.txt. Right, patience.txt, and then I'll just come back any text file later. All right, that's one test. Next test that we should do, remember we have to test for, we test for normal input and we test for incomplete with the files there. Now we're going to test for normal and erroneous because we're going to test the password. So let's go, we're going to test the password. I'm going to take this, do I have a password one? Password test will be the second one. Nope. Okay, cool. So I'll take this one. We'll put the test 1 and test 2 as heading 2s so that they will be searchable in the table of contents. Okay, take this here and we're going down to the bottom. Test 2. Testing the password function. Purpose of the test, which will be if the password is wrong, the program will not load and keep giving an error message. All right, solutions being tested, normal input and incorrect input. I think they have erroneous in the syllabus. Yeah. Right, erroneous. Okay, so our test will be 1111 for password. And then we'll put 7877, no, 7878 for password. Test, which will be allow user, no, input of password. Right, so the test will be the input of password. Same thing, test. It's kind of did, but that's okay. Expected, if you put in the correct password, the menu should be displayed. Error message saying wrong password. Alright, so we hope both of them will pass, because they will pass for sure. So let's test it. Code, run. Alright, so we're going to test enter the 4-digit password. We're going to put in 1111. Menu is displayed. Okay, cool. So we're going to copy this. Can't copy that because the thing saying the data was printed successfully coming up and with that space after it. I don't like that. Why did I do that? Okay, good. Stop. Run it over. It was looking kind of cringe now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Data has been read successfully. Alright, so we're taking this here, snipping him like so. Why is it saying your last ID is 0? Oh. You see a little space there? That could cause real problems. One space in the file could cause that issue. Right, good. We will snip here like that. Good, and then we go back to our document and we will prove screenshots. Screenshot showing the correct password entered. And now we'll do the wrong thing. Stop, run. We'll go 7878 and we'll say incorrect passcode. So we screenshot this and ta-da, you put that in your document right there. Screenshot showing incorrect password. Nice, entered. And we good. Alright, so we now tested for normal input and erroneous input. Good. Now what else is left for us to test for? We have to test for normal results extreme. Yeah, so we have a lot of normal and extreme to test for. So let's see if we could work that out. Because we need to show that it will not accept a number that's greater than 5. In order to do that, we have to go back to our code. I'm going to comment this out here because I don't want this to be seen all the time. To show that the tester is actually there where we commented all the tests. Yeah, what we want to do is we want to check the menu function. Menu is very easy to test, because all you have to do is go in the menu and put in a statement by the while. Where's the menu? The main is there. Where did I put the menu? Menu should be at the top. After finding the little thing at the side, I'll allow you to jump from function to function in this arm. There must be a no. Anyhow, that's beside point. Read it. Welcome. Right, menu. Right. So any menu, we want to get the choice, and we want to scan the choice. However, we don't want to return the choice if they don't display it properly. So in order to do that, we'll scan the choice and then we'll put if choice is less than 1 or choice is greater than 5, then we will print f the choice is out of range. Now please choose a value, a valid number between 1 and 5. Right. So we tell them please choose a valid number between 1 and 5. Else do we return -1 or do we? You see, you have a choice to either do the testing in the menu or testing in the main. We could call back the menu. That's doing recursion, but because we'll just call back the menu each time. Yeah. Right. So we're saying if the choice is less than -1 or choice is greater than 5, less than 1, no, less than 0. Yeah. Or choice is greater than 5. Please choose a valid number between 1 and 5. Or call back the menu. Right, calling the menu inside the menu is risky. That is a sort of that's a bit of a risk because recursion could go real bad on you if you do it correctly. But let's try it and see. Stop, run. All right, let's go. So we're going to test for, well, we put in the correct password 1111, and now we're going to test for putting in the correct value. So we know it's working if we put in the wrong value, but what happens if we put in the correct value? Let's see if I choose 0 to exit. Will it exit? Yes, thank you for using your program. Cool. If however I choose another value, which will be, if I choose 6, should it say, please choose a valid number between 1 and 5. Yeah, your menu options. If I choose 9, please choose a valid number between 1 and 5. Yeah, options. Right. So all I have to do is put a \n here and a \n here. I probably want to put like with the word error or something. Yeah. All right, so let's try that now. Run. Okay, so we want to test for the correct input, which is 1111. If the person chooses 1 to 5, they should get a correct option. If the person put 0, it should exit the program. Right, good. So we're going to put, I should put in where they have to make the choice. Okay. I'll put printf right here to show printf brackets choice. Choice. Nice. Okay. All right, so this will make it look a little better. Did I put \n in front of it? No, I didn't. Let's do it now. Run. We put in 1, 1, 1, 1. 1. We get in. Please enter choice right now. I have choice in bold right here. I spelled choice wrong, but that's okay. Because I'm really good at spelling it. Run. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Choice is 0. If the choice is 0, it should say thank you for using the program. Cool. So I'm going to take this as working. Well, we are now test 3. Right. So just remember the things that you're testing, they are supposed to prove skills are being done, not just testing random things. Because you could test random things at any point in time. What you want to do is you want to show that your testing skills are good. Test 3, testing the menu function. Test if the user inputs a number outside the range. Message is displayed. Alright, so we're testing for normal input, erroneous input, and the other word? Extreme input. Alright, so the first test is going to be testing for 0. And then we'll test for 5 as menu option. And then we will test for -1. And then we will test for 6. Right? Test, menu input. There probably is a much more efficient way of doing this table without having to repeat all of these words. But right now, I'll just leave it as is. Because I could just put data, I could just put the data and what is expected. And just put the test as menu input. But nonetheless, all right. If you find a way to do it more efficiently, go right ahead. Alright, so 0 as menu option. For the 0 as menu option, I'm going to put expected. 5 as menu option. What 5 supposed to give me? Print the list of critical patients. Print critical patients. File. Error message. Error message. And then we put pass. Because we need to go down pass. If it do pass, then we'll have a problem. Pass, pass, see figure below. Alright, good. So now let's get the test cases for it. We just got the 0, 1. So the 0, 1 exists. So this one will be screenshot input as 0. Now we gotta check for input as 5, right? Run again. 1, 1, 1, 1. input as 5. Critical patients file is ready to print. Okay, cool. So we're showing that it works. You don't want to make the screenshots like super duper big, but you could make them so that they're readable. Screenshot showing option 5 working. Alright, now we gotta check for the other values, which is -1 and 1 and 6. So we're going to put in the choice as -1. So I'll just screenshot this part here. Choice -1 error. Alright, so we know the -1 works. Screenshot showing error message for -1, and then we'll go for a screenshot for error message showing choice as 6, right? So we put in choice as 6, should get the same error message. All right, choice as 6 error, please choose valid number. Okay. Right. Remember, the examiner does not run your code. The examiner does not run your code. You have to show examples of it. So this one here gives us normal input, extreme input, erroneous input. So according to the syllabus, so far, we have tested for normal results because we tested the file normal, we tested the inputs normal, we tested the password normal. We've just tested extreme for the menu. We've tested erroneous input, which is when you put in -1 or 6 for the menu. And we've tested incomplete, meaning the file is empty. And technically speaking, we did cover all the marks, meaning the test results. We do have the test results marked. So we have 5 marks for the test results working, because this one is 3 to 4 is 2 marks. So we went lower, we went higher. For the extreme input, we went to the low extreme, we went to the high extreme. That's why they have 3 to 4 here. We did have the correct. So our test results do return marks. However, the test plan this will be considered a minimal data set because we just tested for some of the basic things. We did 1 test for each. What we want to do is we want to get an exhaustive data set. To get an exhaustive data set, you have to start to test through your functions and show that you are able to test in a much deeper way. So we want to pass acceptable, we want to get to exhaustive, so we're going to test through all of the functions. Now, this may seem very tedious, but this will help you a lot when it comes to Unit 2. If you take this IA into Unit 2, your test plan is almost the same. All you'll have to do is just add in new tests for your new functions that you're adding and the new functionality that you're putting. But once you test it thoroughly here, your Unit 2 will be cake. So do it properly now. I promise you, it will get better. So we do test 3. Now we're going on to test 4. What are we looking for in test 4? Test 4 is the add patient function. Add patient function. Purpose of the test, we're going to put if the user inputs the name of a person, it will be added to the array of structures. Now, you could test for supposed to put? Situations being tested right here. Right. Now we could test for if they put in a name, if they put in a number where they're supposed to see a name and all that kind of stuff. But it's not absolutely necessary unless it's a deal breaker for the particular program. Now the deal breaker in this program, the deal breaker in your program could be something different. But the deal breaker in here is if they put in a status that is wrong. So what we want to do is in the add patient function, we want them to put in the ID, first name, surname, and age. All of those things we can't control. However, we could control the status because the status is supposed to be only numbers 1, 2, and 3. So we will try to scan it in. And then we will say while status is less than 1. Alright, there's a quick test. Or status is greater than 3. We want to print our message. Printf is not a valid status. And then we will ask them to scan it over. That is not a valid status. Please enter a valid one. 1, 2, or 3. Right. And then we will do the scanf again. So as long as the status is within the correct range. So we scan the status. I will check to see if, oh no, we gotta check this actual variable here, because we read it straight into the status. So we just put in our while loop to keep in loop here, so that we will always be paying attention to this. Alright, good. So if the status is just than 1 or greater than 3, that's now a valid status. Please enter the correct one. It will stay in that while loop. Once the status is correct, then it will continue with the actual size. So this is the test here. It's an easy test for integer value. If you have an integer value and you really need integer value for anything at all, then you just put the range that you want to get, and you could keep looping inside there until they put in the correct thing. So let's test the let's work up the table for it though. So we will put data, which is valid patient data. Are we testing? Add patient. We testing status being 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So the data we put in is valid patient data, and the status is being 1 to 3. The data is invalid patient data, which is the status being 0 And then we'll do invalid patient data again. Status being 4. Right. So only 3 things to test there. But you realize inside here we doing normal input, extreme input. Right, we don't have any erroneous input. Yeah. Normal and extreme because we testing normal, which will be 1 to 3, and then we testing extreme, which will be 0 to 4, right? Program should add the patient. We'll have to print the patient data. Program should display error message. Program should display error message. Right. All of them are going to pass because, well, all of them are going to pass. Right? So we're going to run it again. Hopefully I don't have any errors. All right, no errors. Okay, so we're going to test this now, which will be 1111. Enter the user. 1111. Right. Now we're going to try the add patient. So we're going to show you choices add patient 1. And then it says enter the ID. So we're going to enter the ID 555. Enter the name, Billy, the name, Jean, and we're going to put in an age or whatever. Doesn't matter the age. Here's where we actually testing. We're testing the status being 1 to 3. So we're going to put the status as 1, and we're going to show that the patient was added, right? So we will print screen here. Show that the choice was 1. Please enter the new patient information, and it says the patient to the ID 555 has been added. So in our code now, we will put valid. Valid patient data. I'll put need data here. 555, Billy, Jean, what's the number? 44, status 1. Right. Invalid patient data now. I will do this. I'll put 555, Billy Jean 444. I'll put the input as the status as 0, and then this one do the same thing, status as 4. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so let's go and test it in the code now. So we're going to put in choices 1, add patient. And then we're going to put the ID as 555. First name Billy, Jean, 44. But the status is now going to be 0. It should give an error message. That's not a valid status. Please enter 1, 2, or 1, 2, 4. No. Please enter 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. Billy, Jean, 44, enter patient status as 0. Please enter valid. Please enter 1, 2, or 3. And then I can put the patient status as 4. Should put please enter 1, 2, or 3 and a \n. And then a \n. Upper space. Yeah. Alright. Again. What? Did I make a mistake? Okay. Alright. 1, 1, 1, 1. Enter. Add patient. 555. Billie Jean. Age is 44. Alright, so I'm gonna prove the error was working out. So I'll put 0. Please enter valid number 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna put in 4. Please enter 1, 2, 3. Right, and then I'll put in 1. Right. So this one print screen, I could prove that it was entered multiple times and it didn't work. So this one print screen will prove all of my test cases there. So sometimes, depending on how the code, it could work like that. Otherwise, not. Alright, screenshot showing data being entered incorrectly with appropriate error message. Nice. So that handles that table here because I showed the 0 and the 4 one time. I put the status at 0, then I put 4, and then I put 1, and then it was accepted, right? Nice. Cool. So we tested for the add patient function. What other function should we test? Now, there are plenty things that we could test, huh? But we tested for the add patient. We could test for the update patient, but the update patient and add patient, they are both kind of like scanfs. So we tested already, and you don't have to test for every single little scan, every single read. What you want to do is you want to do what the syllabus asks for, which is an exhaustive data set. So that means your data set must not be repetitive. So you can't just be like, okay, let me test for all these scans and I'll put while loops to check every time a person put in a number that it must be an acceptable number. You could do that. You could test it for every single thing. But remember, we don't have time for that. What you're trying to show the examiner is that you know that there are certain things that are testable and you have the ability to do it. Because if you could test for a number here, you could test for a number here for the status. But you see the search now, the search will be a good place to test because you want to test now to see if you could find an actual value inside the search. So testing the search will get you from acceptable to exhaustive because now you understand the concept of searching through an array, right? So that's what the examiners will most likely be looking at. So let's show our search function. Now we did have some tests inside for the search function already. Enter the ID you'd like to search for, printf the ID was not found, or the patient was found at location, right? Okay. So for the search function, which I think should be the last test that we'll do. No, the last test will be print into the file. Because that's the next big thing that you want to be able to do. So we'll take, copy the test for stuff, and we're going down here. We call this test 5. The number of tests that you do depends on the type of program that you write, just letting you know. Like you could, the more functions you have that are varied, the more things you have to test. But our goal is to show that we can test the varied functions, the different types of functions. So we're going to test the search function. Yeah. Purpose of the test, if the user searches for a value, it should return the index they are located at. Alright. So in here, we're going to test for normal input and erroneous input. Yeah. Alright, because we're going to test for a value that's actually there and a value that's not actually there. So I will delete this row here because only two things we had to test for. But remember, you are proven to the examiner, you know what to search for. So valid patient, ID 78. Let me see the text file. Let me look for Peppa Pig. Valid patient ID 655. Alright, because if you search in the middle, you're showing a little more skill than searching for the first value or the last value. Because if you search for the first value, then obviously you might have read the first value, but they didn't read all the way through. That's an interesting thing to search for. So test will be patient Peppa Pig. No. How does the code work? When you search for the value, let's give it back the location. Okay, cool. Alright, so Peppa Pig should be index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, Peppa Pig should be at index 9. Should be returned. Test. Search for patient ID. Invalid patient ID. Invalid patient ID 345. Yeah. Okay. The patient ID index 9 should be returned. Program should return -1 and error message. Right, we'll put them as path, of course, because yeah. Alright, so let's go. We're going to search for Peppa Pig, which is 655. 1111. Choose option 3, search for patient. Please enter here you want to search for. 655. Patient was found at location 9. Okay, cool. So we'll take this, we'll grab this one time. We paste that into the document immediately. And then screenshot showing valid search results. And now we go back to the code and we are going to search for patient number. What's the number up inside it, right? 34. Okay. Choice is to search for patient 3. And we're going to get back 34. 34. Patient was not found. Okay, cool. So we show not. Alright, so we're going to show that the patient is not found. Screenshot done. Patient not. Patient 34 not found. Alright. Good. Okay, so we have another function inside here, which is the print the patient to the screen, but if we search for the patient, it will give us back an index, and the index will be print info index. Right. Now the print info index is going to just print out the patient for us, right? But if the index is -1, we should put patient doesn't exist. So to test the print info, because it's calling the search function returns -1 or 34. We want to prove that if it sends -1, if we send that index to the print info, the print info function will just be like that will exist, right? So all we're gonna do is put in if index is equal to -1, and we print up patient doesn't exist, and else we handle this here. Yeah. Right, so the test inside our print info function is if we get a -1 as the index, print the patient doesn't exist. Else, we print out the patient info. So that's an easy test there. That's just an if else. But that proves that we understand what is taking place. Let's see. Run. 655 is the number. 1, 2, 3, 4. And search for patient. We choose an option number. No. Print patient record to the screen. That's the option we're choosing. Patient 655 should be Peppa Pig. Yep, and it comes up. So we're going to take this and show that our update patient works. And then we will do another one to show that the update patient doesn't work. It should give it the error message. So we'll take test 5 now. Test 5 is almost the same thing as test 4, which is our input output one. Test 6, which is testing the print to screen function. And this is normal input and errors input, valid patient, search patient ID, Peppa Pig, record, printed, program, should print error message. Okay, cool. Alright, so we know for sure that we good with this print screen here. This one here shows showing valid search. Valid patient printed to screen. And then the next one we're going to do is we're going to put in invalid patient. So the choice is option 4. Let's search for patient number 34. It should tell me patient does not exist. Right, cool. The patient ID I want to search for. Patient does not exist. All right. I'm going to put screenshots showing patient does not exist. So there's one thing I'm picking up right now, which is the functional requirements required us to be able to search for a patient on print record to screen. Okay, cool, yeah. So we did meet that requirement, right? So we testing that. What else do we have to test for? We testing to print the records to the output file. So last function to test is print into the output file. So test 6, test 7, which is our last test. Test 7. Test 7, print to the output file. Print to. Alright. Again, if you want to get this mark that says exhaustive data set, that means you have to test through all your functions and try to show that you know the different types of data that you should test for. So the test here is when function chosen, the data should be printed. The critical patients should be printed to the output file. There's really nothing to test here. All we have to do is to test normal input, meaning if I put any option as 5, does it print? Does a pass or fail? It has no wrong inside there. So, data would be choosing option 5. Test would be input critical patients should be printed. Expected is output file should be updated. Pass or fail. All right. So in order to prove this, I have to prove that the intensive care file is empty. So I'll prove by showing empty intensive care file. Empty intensive care file. Then I will have to show the option chosen. The expected results, I need to update the expected results. The expected results are with patients with status 3 as their status only. Right. Option chosen and full input file, output file. Okay, cool. Let's go for the last test. So we're going to run the code. Enter the 434. All right, passcode in. All right, print the list of critical patients to the file. I'll choose number 5. Right, and then it should say the critical patient file is ready to print. So I'll put choice 5. Then option chosen, choice 5, critical patient file ready to print. And then I'm going to get the output file now, which will have intensive care, and I will take you right here. And show that only patients with the number 3 do exist. I should show full patient file. That way the examiner will be able to see that everybody that has a 3 has been put in. And they'll be able to check. Yeah, so they'll be able to check to see that it should be this person, Pearson, SpongeBob, Peppa Pig. Who else? And Bill Murray. Yeah. Pull output file. Right. That is our test plan. That is our test plan. So let's see if we meet the requirements. The requirements are we must have an exhaustive data set. Well, we tested a data set of very, very complex, well, varied things. We tested the input files, make sure the input file is empty. We had normal input, incomplete input, print screens to show. Test 2, we tested the password function. Password was testing for normal input or erroneous input, print screens to show. We have the menu function testing for normal input, extreme input, and erroneous input. Yeah, menu gives you a lot of things to test for. We have test 4, which is the add patient function. We're testing for normal input and extreme input, because if we have to add a patient and we choose the wrong number, it wouldn't allow it to be added. If we choose the wrong status, it wouldn't allow us to add that person to the list. Test 5, we test the search function, normal input and erroneous input. So we tested if they put 655, if we tested right. Test 6, we tested print to the screen, which is normal input or wrong. So it's either put the correct ID or the wrong ID. Print it to the screen. Then test 7, we will print to the output file. Or we tested it as normal input. It should print to the output file. Because the output file will be empty at the start. We had the full input file. The program was able to process it, put it in. Boom. Cool. That there is our test plan. That is exhaustive. The data set is exhaustive. And then we have the correct results. The correct results are shown by the print screens. We have normal print screen showing the correct thing, extreme input giving the correct thing, erroneous input, we have incomplete input. The examiner has no reason to tell you anything. Alright, so next video we'll deal with the overall presentation and the documentation, and we are done with this. But so far, you should have almost all your marks, everything. And the overall presentation, well, we'll just kind of go through the document. So the next video should be pretty short. As for now, this is some good work. This is some good work. Showing you all the marks. Whew. It feels nice to be coming close to the end here. And it also feels nice to remind you to download the app, which is Learn IT or Learn It in the Play Store, App Store, anywhere. And you will be able to see lots of documents, lots of videos, lots of tutorials, all sorts of different things to show you how to make it through CAPE computer science. And if you're doing IT, you'll see IT stuff too. Yeah, lots of content inside there. And if you download that app, it's a one-stop shop for all CSEC and CAPE students. So, learn it. Learn IT. I'll see you on the next side in the last video, which I'm probably going to do right now. But it will look like I'm not doing it right now. But long story short, I'll see you in the next video.